Good morning everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs. For mobile optimized ebooks, please install GKToday Academy app. You can attempt the quiz in this app and you can read detailed explanation. For regular updates, please join our Telegram. The link is given in the description box. We have started a new channel, Civils Academy. You can subscribe to it if you find it relevant. Now, one more thing. For Civils Academy, we are looking for passionate teachers. So, if you are interested, please fill a Google form and the form is given in this Telegram channel. Please make sure that you read the instructions properly on that form and then fill that form. Okay, now let's start. Jilling Lenglota iron ore block and Gwali iron ore block have been inaugurated in which Indian state? So these are related to Odisha. Name of these iron ore blocks are Jilling Lenglota and Gwali iron ore block. So recently, Union Minister for Mines Prahlad Joshi and Chief Minister of Odisha Naveen Patnaik jointly inaugurated these two iron ore blocks. Now recently, Odisha was also in news because of Reward project. So this is related to agriculture sector. Odisha was also in news because of Sun Temple of Konark. The state of Odisha was also in news because of first Thunderstorm Research Center. Which country chaired the Commonwealth Law Ministers meeting on the legal aspects of COVID-19? So, the Law Minister of Sri Lanka was the chairperson of this meeting, and this was a meeting of Commonwealth nations. From Indian side, the Secretary in the Ministry of Law and Justice represented. Now, you need not to remember the name of particular secretary for this question. Now, Sri Lanka was also in news because of Vaccine Maitri initiative. What was the Vaccine Maitri initiative? So, this was a step by India to provide support to the neighbors. How? By providing them vaccines for COVID-19. So as the name suggests, it is an initiative for vaccines. So Sri Lanka was one of the beneficiaries of this Vaccine Maitri initiative. Which Indian personality has been appointed as the Under Secretary General and Associate Administrator of UNDP? What is UNDP? It is United Nations Development Program. And recently, Usha Rao Monari has been appointed as the Under Secretary General and Associate Administrator of UNDP. UNDP is United Nations Development Program. It is part of United Nations. Present Secretary General of United Nations is Antonio Guterres. Antonio Guterres is from Portugal. Capital of Portugal is Lisbon. Now recently, UNDP was also in news because of India's first social impact bond. And recently, Pimpri Chindwad Municipal Corporation signed an agreement with UNDP to create India's first social impact bond. Now this municipal corporation is a corporation of Maharashtra. Recently, Maharashtra was in news because of Lonar Lake. This lake was in news because it has been included in the list of Ramsar sites. Ramsar is a convention for wetland protection. The name of Ramsar is because of name of place in Iran, and the convention was signed in 1971, and this year the convention completed 50 years, and that's why it is significant. Which country is the largest funder of WHO? That is World Health Organization. So this country is USA. Recently USA was in news because US Secretary of State Blinken announced that USA is going to pay $200 million to WHO. USA is the largest funder of WHO. The previous president of USA decided to withdraw from WHO, but now the current president, that is Joe Biden, announced that USA is going to rejoin it. Apart from that, USA is going to rejoin Paris deal. Actually, it officially joined this. Apart from that, USA is going to rejoin UN Human Rights Council. And USA was also in news because of Keystone Pipeline. This Paris deal was signed during COP21. This time we are going to have COP26. It is going to be in Glasgow. And during this COP26, ISA, that is International Solar Alliance, is going to launch World Solar Bank. Recently, ISA was in news because Ajay Mathur is going to be the head of ISA. The headquarters of ISA is in Haryana, in Gwalpahari, in Gurugram. Who chairs the Governing Council meeting of Niti Ayog? So, it is chaired by Prime Minister. This Governing Council is the apex body, that means the topmost body of this Niti Ayog, and it will have all the chief ministers, all the lieutenant governors of union territories, and the union ministers and senior government officials. Now this Niti Ayog is executive body. It is successor of Planning Commission. What is the meaning of this term executive body? That means it has been constituted through an executive order and there is no constitutional or legal backing for this. So it was formed in 2015. Niti Ayog stands for National Institution for Transforming India. So the chairperson of this Ayog is Prime Minister. CEO of this Ayog is Mr. Amitabh Kant and Vice Chairperson is Mr. Rajiv Kumar. Recently, Prime Minister was also in news as he became the trustee of Somnath Temple. This temple is in Gujarat. Recently, Gujarat was in news as it renamed Dragon Fruit. What is the name of Mars rover of NASA which recently landed on Red Planet? First thing first, what is Red Planet? It is Mars. What is the name of Space Agency of USA? It is NASA. That is National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So what is the name of rover? Name is Perseverance. It was sent by NASA to Mars. Recently it was in news because it landed on the surface of Mars. Now what is Ingenuity? It is the name of helicopter by NASA for Mars. Now recently few other Mars missions were in news. One is Hope Probe. So it is a mission by UAE. Apart from that, Tianwen-1 was also in news. It is a mission on Mars by China. Recently this Hope Probe was in news because it captured the picture of Olympus Mons volcano. So what is so special about this volcano? So it is the largest volcano in the solar system and it is present on the Mars. Now since we are talking about solar system, answer in comment box what is the meaning of term exoplanet and what is the meaning of term Goldilocks zone. The inflation target is set by the central government in consultation with RBI once in how many years? So it is set by the central government in consultation with central bank once in 5 years. What is inflation? Inflation means increase in price or price rise. What is deflation? That means decrease in price or decrement in price. Inflation, deflation. What is the meaning of term disinflation? That means slow rate of price rise. That means slow down in the rate of price rise. What is the meaning of stagflation? This is your homework. Okay, now coming back to this inflation target. So inflation target is set by central government in consultation with the Reserve Bank of India, and then this MPC, that is Monetary Policy Committee, make the policy adjustment to keep the inflation within this specified limit. So what is this MPC? MPC is a 6-member committee, out of which 3 are appointed by central government, 3 are from Reserve Bank of India. And the chairperson of this MPC is the RBI governor. Present RBI governor is Shaktikant Das. Now, presently, the inflation target is 4 plus minus 2%. That means it can be in the range of 2 to 6%. Now, in the context of inflation, please read about core inflation versus headline inflation. Also read about inflation tax, fiscal drag, or imported inflation. These are very basic questions related to economics, and in exam usually they tweak these basic facts to frame questions. So you should be clear about these concepts. What is Helena, which was in news recently? So it is a missile system, and Helena is the Indian Army version of missile system. Actually, it is the heli version of Nag missile. That's why heli plus Na. On the other hand, Dhurvastra is the Air Force version. These are designed and developed by DRDO. Recently, they were tested successfully. DRDO is Defense Research and Development Organization. It is under MOD. Recently, it was in news because of Rakshita. Rakshita is bike ambulance, and recently DRDO provided these bike ambulance to CRPF, that is Central Reserve Police Force. CRPF are part of CAPF, that is Central Armed Police Force. CAPF are under MHA, that is Ministry of Home Affairs. Recently, Home Ministry launched Ayushman CAPF scheme. It is a scheme for the members of Central Armed Police Force. It is a health sector scheme. Recently, Ayushman Sehat was also in news. Answer in comment box, it is associated to which union territory? The Agriculture Ministry has obtained approval from DGCA for the use of drones for which scheme? So first thing first, what is this DGCA? It is Directorate General of Civil Aviation. So recently, Agriculture Ministry obtained approval from DGCA for the use of drones. Why they are going to use drones? That means why Agriculture Ministry need drones. They need drones for the surveillance of fields. And on the basis of that, this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana will be implemented. Now, this is a crop insurance scheme. So, with the help of drones, it will be analyzed that how much damage has been done to the crops. And on the basis of that damage, the insurance claim is given. So, why Agriculture Ministry need approval from DGCA? Because in order to fly drones in our country, you need approval from DGCA. Recently, one more authority was in news because of approval from DGCA, and it is BCCI. Now, BCCI can record live match with the help of drones, and therefore, recently it got approval from DGCA in this context. Coronil is a medicine developed by which company? So it was in news because of certain controversy, and it is a medicine by Patanjali Ayurved. Recently, it was in news that WHO approved this as a treatment for coronavirus. However, later WHO sidelined and it mentioned that it has not reviewed or certified the effectiveness of any traditional medicine for the treatment of COVID-19. So that's why it was in news. So in exam, they may ask you a simple question that it is associated to which company? What is the name of fund set up by the Government of India to complete the stalled housing projects? So the name of fund is Swami Fund. What is the full form of Swami? It stands for Special Window for the Completion of Construction of Affordable and Mid-Income Housing Projects. Recently, it was in news because of certain decisions by Government of India. So, what is important from exam perspective? A, the name of fund, that is Swami Fund. B, it is for stalled housing projects. And it was set up by the Government of India with a corpus of 250 billion rupees. And who is the fund manager? So, SBI Cap Venture Limited is the fund manager. Recently, it was in news because this fund is set to deliver its first finished apartment. Now, in this context, please read the difference between brownfield projects or greenfield projects. Now, on regular basis, I give you a lot of homework that please read about this term or please read about that term. And I see comments that why do we need to read this much? See, you are preparing for competitive examinations and just select any competitive examination which is organized in our country and see its cutoff. It's not so easy. Even if you are having a PhD degree, it is not easy to crack a competitive examination which is organized on 12th basis. There's intense competition, so either you can cry about your circumstances or you can prepare ruthlessly. Choice is yours. Now, important news events. So first is Green Pass. So this is related to Israel. Actually, Israel is giving this pass to those who are vaccinated. So once people are vaccinated, they can visit different places, and that is why this pass or Green Pass is given to them. Next is Khelo India University Games. So first Khelo India University Games held in Odisha in Bhubaneswar, and this time these are going to be organized in Karnataka. Recently, Karnataka was also in news as it is going to set up flour processing center. Next is subcategorization of OBC. OBC stands for other backward classes. So for subcategorization, government had constituted G. Rohini committee. Then why this issue was in news recently? Because there's a commission, NCBC, that is National Commission for Backward Classes. Recently, this commission was in news as the chairperson of this commission, Bhagwan Lal Sahani, informed that commission is in favor of 4 subcategories of OBC. That's why this entire issue was in news. Next is Buddha's rice. So, Uttar Pradesh is going to export Kala Namak rice to Singapore. And this rice is also known as Lord Buddha's Prasad. And that is why it has been branded as Buddha's rice. Please note that it is a non-basmati rice. Next is making peace with the nature. So this is a report released by UNEP, that is United Nations Environment Program. Next is Kandla Forest. So this forest is in Karnataka. Recently it was in news because Karnataka government is planning to designate this area as biodiversity hotspot. Next is Khajuraho Dance Festival. So Khajuraho temples are in Madhya Pradesh and they are in Chhatrapur district of Madhya Pradesh. So this dance festival is organized in the premise of these temples. Next is Rashtra Pratham, that is Nation First. So recently Home Minister Mr. Shah released this book, and it is a book about the glorious history of CRPF. CRPF was raised in 1939. So this book contains the glorious history of CRPF, and it is about 82 years of CRPF. Next is India's top trading partner. So China is our top trading partner in 2020. Next is State Bank of Sikkim. So now it will be under the regulation of Reserve Bank of India. Please note that so far RBI was acting as a banker to all the state governments except State Government of Sikkim. Next is ketoprofen. So first thing first, it is in news because of the decision of Bangladesh. So what is this ketoprofen? It is a painkiller which is used to treat the cattle. But the problem is that this is toxic to vultures. So when these cattle die, these vultures feed on them. And because of this painkiller, these vultures also die. So that's why Bangladesh became the first country to ban this painkiller ketoprofen. A similar painkiller is diclofenac, and this is banned in our country. Why so? Because it was toxic to vultures, and this led to the decline in population of vultures. Recently, one more country was in news in the context of these medicine, and it was Oman. So recently Oman became the first country in Arabian Peninsula to ban the veterinary use of diclofenac to conserve the population of vultures. Next is V. Narayan Swami. So he was the Chief Minister of Puducherry. Recently, his government lost majority, and that's why he resigned. Actually, there is a politics game going on in Puducherry. Recently, the Union Territory was also in news as Kiran Bedi, who was the Lieutenant Governor of Union Territory, she was removed, and new governor was Tamilisai Soundarajan. So now the Chief Minister resigned to Tamilisai Soundarajan. Why? Because he lost the majority in Union Territory. So right now we have 3 Union Territories where we have Legislative Assembly. One Union Territory is Delhi, another is Puducherry, and third is Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. And in this Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, this Legislative Assembly has not been constituted so far. Next is airport in Uttar Pradesh. So recently 2 airports were in news. First is airport of Ayodhya. So it is going to be renamed after Lord Ram. So the name is going to be Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram Airport. Second airport is Jewar Airport. So recently it was in news because the Uttar Pradesh government is going to build it as Asia's biggest airport. The official name of this Jewar Airport is Noida International Greenfield Airport. Next is IIT Council. So recently this IIT Council was in news because it set panels for the autonomy of IIT institutions. This IIT Council is chaired by MHRD Minister, that is Minister of Human Resource Development. Present Minister is Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank. This MHRD has been renamed as Ministry of Education. Next is Lieutenant General B.S. Raju. So he was in news because recently he has been appointed as new DGMO, that is Director General of Military Operations of Indian Army. Last is Jan Gan Man. So it is our national anthem. Recently it was in news because for the first time it was played in the Assembly of Nagaland. Nagaland became a full-fledged state in 1963, and recently for the first time this was played in the State Assembly of Nagaland. So these were the most important news events. Now some of your doubts. First is, which books should be taken for current affairs? Because you said that YouTube videos are not sufficient. See, the problem is no matter what I say, you people are not going to listen. When I say that videos are not sufficient, that means you will have to do self-study. And which book is going to cover the current affairs of yesterday or day before yesterday? Isn't it logical that hard copy books will not cover up-to-date current affairs? Of course, you can get the magazine from any bookstore, but they will cover the current affairs of last month or so. So every time you need to update it. So you can visit your local bookstore and see which one suits you. Next is, please remove the subtitles from the video. I am facing a lot of problems in taking the screenshot. See, you can turn off subtitles from the settings of your YouTube player. These are settings from user side, not from our side. Next is, I am preparing for RBI Grade B exam. How can I improve my writing skills? The only way to improve your writing skills is to write. You will have to start writing 30 words answers on any topic. For example, start writing about inflation in 30 words or about any current affairs topic, and then you can increase the word limit from 30 to 50 and 200 and so on, but you will have to practice a lot. Next is, I'm new here, I haven't watched previous lectures and there is a lot of backlogs. How should I start? See, it depends when is your exam. If your exam is say after 6 to 8 months, then try to cover this way. We are in February. So from now onwards, be regular, and for the current affairs of past, try to cover it in reverse manner. That means first try to cover the current affairs of January, then try to cover the current affairs of December 2020, and so on. Please do not pick up the current affairs of June 2020 in the first instance, because that won't make sense. Next is, I'm preparing for exam having weightage of 2 to 3 marks of current affairs, and I am giving approximately 2 hours every day to cover the current affairs. Am I wasting my crucial time? Of course you are wasting your crucial time if you don't know. See, first and foremost thing is, you need to understand the concept of ROI, that is return on investment. How much time you are investing for how much score. So first and foremost thing is, always check previous year questions to understand the weightage of particular section, and on the basis of that allocate the time. For example, in this present case, the person is saying that only 2 to 3 marks is the weightage of current affairs. Then what's the point of preparing 2 hours every day for this particular section? Instead of that, you can allocate that time to any other section which will have higher weightage. Now, suppose you are preparing for UPSC Civil Services examination and you are preparing for, say, history. Now, in history, there are 4 major components: A, modern history; B, ancient, medieval, and art and culture. Now, if you see the trend of previous year papers, the modern history questions are maximum. So, first and foremost thing is, you should focus on this section because these are low hanging fruits. So, always try to maximize the investment. That was all for the day. Thank you.